Thank you for joining us today. My name is Catherine Pena. I am CARES Act Business Advisor here at the Tarrant Small Business Development Center. Today, we're going to discuss the Employee Retention Credit, also known as ERC. We're going to be sharing this today. It's going to be coming from Cindy Largent, our other CARES Act Business Advisor. Now, remember, the Employee Retention Credit is a fully refundable tax credit for employers equal to the specific percentage of qualified wages. That certainly was a mouthful. Let's have Cindy help us understand what that means. Hey, Cindy, are you available?
I sure am. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Thank
Great.
you for being available today and sharing with us what is the ERC.
Okay, so right now, out of all the COVID packages that are available, we have our EIDL loan, which is through SBA, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, that is still available through the end of the year. The other thing that we have, and ERC, ERTC, which is the Employee Retention Tax Credit, Employee Retention Credit, just depends on who you're talking to. It's the same thing, but that is not an SBA product. So, we've been hearing about PPP, a lot about PPP, a lot about EIDL, and those are products that the SBA is administering. But the Employee Retention Credit is it's a payroll tax credit, as you said in the little intro, and so the IRS is managing this. So when an employer does their payroll, they complete a quarterly form called a 941, and that's where they report their taxes on. So the Employee Retention Credit, like the PPP, is designed to keep people on the payroll. That is really the goal of both those programs. So ERC came about with the CARES Act, just as PPP did. And initially, if you did PPP, you could not do ERC. And if you did ERC, you couldn't do PPP. So legislation changed that. So at the end of the year, all of a sudden, if you did PPP, you could still qualify for the Employee Retention Credit or ERC. But you have to qualify for these programs. So these programs aren't there just because you have employees. You have to meet certain criteria. So one of the criteria you need to meet is, was your business closed or partially closed due to government shutdown? Because remember, 2020 was crazy. We had the full lockdown. So a lot of our businesses, they didn't let their employees go. They kept them on the payroll they were paying. That's where this credit comes into play, if that's one scenario. The other scenario, in order to be eligible, is in 2020, if your gross receipts, your sales, your gross receipts that you got from your business decreased by 50%, then you could qualify. Now, the nice thing was for 2021, legislation changed that and made it so much more favorable. Nobody knew how long COVID was going to last, didn't know the economic impact it was going to have on our small businesses. So Congress changed that, President signed it, and the ERC now was available if you had a reduction in receipts by 20%. So it made it available to a lot more of our small businesses. But remember, it's unqualified wages. And so there's a lot of definitions that go into it, and we're not going to be able to cover everything on ERC in a Facebook Live. So it's really important. If you have a payroll provider, they know all the rules on there, but you have to qualify. That's the first tier of qualification. The other is you have to determine which quarters you qualify. And so there are formulas that are out there to determine if you qualify and in what quarter. So if you qualify in one quarter, you may not qualify in another, or you may qualify for the entire year or for partial year. Now, here's the thing. I talked about PPP and ERC. Now, there's something important to know about any COVID-related product that you got, whether it be PPP, whether it be EIDL, whether it be another grant program that came out of a county, city, state, whatever. You cannot double dip. So it is very, very important that you understand what wages you use for what program. So if you had PPP and you used that payroll from January through March of 2021 for PPP, that was your PPP money, you can't use those same wages and get the employee retention credit on those exact same wages. You would have to do it after. So it's really important to keep track of your payroll and what monies you're using if you got several different packages. So there's ways to really maximize the benefit of these packages to utilize them together. So if you would like help, we are here as business advisors to help map that out for you and help you look at the best way to maximize all of these programs and use them together so you get the best benefit for all of them. So you're qualifying whether you were shut down, partially or full, and you can qualify as well based upon your gross receipts. And depending on the year, depends on what those limits and requirements were. So then there's a limit on wages, and then there's a limit on the credit that you're going to get. But, for 2021, you can get up to 70% of your tax credit back on those qualified wages. So that adds up. A lot of people don't realize how much they're paying out until they start looking at programs like this, and they have to map it out, and they start seeing how much they can actually get back in this tax credit. So how do you get the tax credit? The way you get the tax credit, I mentioned earlier, when you do payroll, you fill out a 941, which is an IRS form that's reporting your payroll taxes for the quarter. So if the quarter's already passed, you can go back and file a 941X, and that's going to correct the 941 you filed in order to get that credit. The IRS will process it, and then they're going to send you a refund check. Now, with everything else, we have a lot of people who've taken advantage of it, so the IRS is behind. So you're not going to get that money right away. Now, what the IRS did, we still have 1 quarter left. We have the 4th quarter of 2021 left. And when you do your payroll, if you're doing a weekly payroll, bi-weekly payroll, monthly payroll, you can fill out a Form 7200 and you can request those funds there, deduct it from your taxes you're paying, and you get to keep that money now. So it's important that you know that, because you're going to get that funding a lot quicker. If you follow the program, you meet the eligibility requirements, you compute the credit on those wages, then you can fill out that 7200. When you do your 941 at the end of the year, which happens to be the end of the 4th quarter, what you do is you take those 7200s. You can file multiple 7200s. You can file one with each one of your payroll, and you then make any modifications you need to. So say you took it and you withheld more than you should have, then you're going to have to pay more on your 941. If you didn't take out enough, then you're going to, deduct that from your last quarter 941. So that's a way on the 4th quarter that if you're out there and this is a program that you qualify for and you can do, this is a great time to talk to your payroll providers, your CPAs, your accountants, to make sure that you're taking advantage of this, because we have clients here at SBDC that received employee retention credit. They took advantage of that, and they filed 1st quarter their 941Xs, and they're still waiting for a check from the IRS to get that money back. So for 4th quarter, this is going to work.
Right.
Because
Cindy, I have a quick question.
Okay.
Is the ERC credit only bound by or for those small businesses who have already received a PPP or EIDL, or what if they miss getting those funds?
If they missed getting those, that's even better, because now they have more payroll that they can see if they qualify. So remember, they have to meet the qualification in one tier or the other. So there's some sites out there that have great flow charts that they've created to say, if this is your situation and yes or no, you can do that. But again, that's what we're here for too, as well, is to kind of help navigate that, help you determine whether or not you qualify based on your quarterly receipts. And of course, we're going to compare the current quarter with the quarter in 2019, because 2019 is being used as the baseline for everything, because that was pre-COVID, and that shows where your business was tracking at that time. So they have to have a benchmark to see if your business was really impacted, because we can't automatically assume your business was impacted, because we do have businesses and we have industries that actually did very well under COVID. And so this is really designed, as I said, to really help keep people on the payroll, make sure those employees are getting paid. There is quite a bit in there. And so that's why, we can't go into to detail, because we'll be here for quite a while, because it can get pretty extensive. But it is really, really a beneficial credit. It's a way for some of our small businesses to really get funds that they've already paid out back, to help them out and just continue to navigate, because COVID's still not over. And as of right now, as I said, employee retention credit ends December 31st of this year. EIDL ends December 31st of this year. So after this year is over, we really don't have any other direct COVID related products that are available to our businesses to come in and support them. So we wanted to get the word out on employee retention credit, let everybody know that this could be an option for their business, and we would be happy to help anybody if they so desire, and if they even want to check to see if they qualify. We'll be more than happy to help them do that.
Perfect. Well, Cindy, thank you for taking time out of your day today to educate us on the ERC program that has a deadline of December 31st, 2021, as well as the EIDL, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, also from the CARES Act, ends on December 31st, 2021. I appreciate your time today, and we'll move on. And we want to say thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, please feel free to call us at 817-515-2600. Please remember, you can find us on the web at www.tarrantsbdc.org. And then finally, if you say, hey, I still have some questions, we applied for the EIDL and we did not get our funds, or we have problems with our application and we're now in reconsideration, we do have a reconsideration webinar that you can still join us. That will be tomorrow at noon. So be sure and go to our website, check events, and sign up to join Cindy as she shares more about the reconsideration process. And then finally, we appreciate you supporting us. We ask that you come and join us here and follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. Our handle on all four of those is at Tarrant SBDC. Thank you so much and have a great Wednesday evening.